Welcome back, everyone. Today, yes, we're in the tackle dungeon again, and that's going to be 2 for this week in the tackle dungeon. And today we're going to talk about what we reference as the beaver bait, okay? And so we're going to go through a lot of brands of beaver baits in this discussion. We're going to talk about what makes a beaver style bait so good. We're going to talk about what they might represent. We're going to talk about rigging. We're going to talk about, what you would think, what hooks to use to increase your hookup ratio. So if you're new to the channel, go back. You can surf around. We got quite a few hacks. We got the tournament scene. There's a lot on the channel. Guys, you've been awesome to me. I know I said it in the last video, but we're coming up on my 1-year anniversary in YouTube. And yes, we've grown about 15,000 so far. So appreciate you guys hitting that sub button, hitting that notification button, and make sure you hit the like button. You guys hear it all the time. So here we go. What is a beaver bait? So basically, when fishermen, professionals, whether recreational, when we reference a beaver bait, basically it's a slender style bait with, I don't even know what I can't even really go into what it references, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to take a couple plunges. Who knows what it's like throwing a brush hog. Nothing represents a Zoom brush hog, but there's nothing that swims in the water. And I can say there's really nothing that swims in the water that represents this, but I feel strongly that the main thing it represents is bluegills. What is a beaver bait? It could be a crawdad, right? It kind of represents a crawdad. If you turn the leg sideways like this, let's see in the camera, the side view, could it be a bluegill? It could be. You got the long body with the little tail that's going to give it like a swimming action. Don't really know what it is, but we all know that this is a fish-catching mamma jamma. Now, we're going to go through the evolution of beaver baits a little bit and talk about them. So this is what we call the original beaver bait, and this is actually a net bait. The inventor of the beaver bait is Reaction Innovations, and I'll just go ahead and tell you right now, I do not promote these guys. Everything with Reaction Innovation. I mean, you can see naked women all over the package. I'm not going to promote them. Actually, NetBait makes a carbon copy of Reaction Innovations Beaver. That's who gets my money. So you guys, it's all an opinion. If it doesn't bother you, you go ahead and buy Reaction Innovation. But NetBait has a very good original beaver style bait. Now, the evolution of it is this. When do you throw, say, beaver baits that have a lot more action? So let's talk about the Strike King Rage Bug, okay? This is still in the beaver bait family, okay? So naturally, you got these kickers on it. When it goes down, they're going to kick. It's got these side kickers. It's actually got 3 sections that actually wiggle, give it a little bit of motion. Again, I'm going to go into when you would throw this, but basically you have a beaver style bait that has movement. Now you also have, Berkeley makes a very good beaver style bait. As you can see, this actually has 4 kicker legs on it. Very good bait to throw. This is probably my #1 choice when it comes to beaver style baits. Now you got Missile Bomb. Missile Bomb is, of course, John Cruz. If you're not familiar with John Cruz, he's an awesome dude. He's a good inventor on things. So John Cruz put in his beaver bait, as you can see, rib cages all in it. He kept his legs very thin, which I thought was interesting. These are gonna make a lot of movement with very little action. So if you're pumping your rod, these are gonna kick out pretty good. Of course, he's got the you know, the side legs on it that could be a crawdad. It's almost like a hybrid, but, you know, another choice would be missile. Then you got zooms. Zooms are a little bit heavy, very subtle, doesn't do much at all. These are beaver style baits. You know, these aren't going to make motion. They're not going to do much. Now you got your zoom. Now you got your zoom Z crawl. Okay. This is, again, adopting the beaver style body, you know, with some kicker legs on it. And, you know, this bait you can use a lot with, even with bladed baits. I mean, it's going to give a lot of kicking motion. Or you have made by Yum or Booyah. It's kind of, they actually incorporated claws in it. They got, you know, legs that you can pull apart and go from there. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about when to throw a moving beaver style bait and when to throw like a subtle beaver style bait. And I've come to the conclusion that for me, that anytime I'm in a warm time of year, what I mean by that is where the water is going to be relatively like 60 degrees and up, fish are more active, they're fast. You know, you're going to get a lot of fast movement. Like if you were to spook a bluegill, he's going to be like, you know, their bodies are going to react quicker to things. Just a lot more movement when it's hotter. We can all agree with that. When the water's below 60 is when I'm going to want that subtle bait. Now listen, guys. Don't sit here and argue with me and sit here and say, you know, I catch them on the beaver, you know, with no movement better than I do movement, okay? You can catch them on any of these suggestions that I just explained to you any time of the year. But when I think about how active fish are or when they are, you know, subject to be swimming a lot, moving a lot, it's going to be when the water's a lot warmer. They're moving, whether they're moving up to the shallows to move, they're coming out of their winter haunts, they're searching for fish, they're not just sitting still. That's when I'm going to use the kicking movement style baits, okay? 60 degrees and colder, I'm going to go to the more subtle bait. Now, what is the, you know, what do they truly represent? Guys, I have no idea. Like, I truly don't. I have not a clue of what in the water it swims like truly imitates, but I know it's enough of a hybrid. What I mean by a hybrid is it does give a profile of a crawdad, and it does give a profile of say a bluegill. It's slender in its size. It's got slow, you know, it could, if you look at it this way, it could be a bluegill. We got different colors that of course, that we can match a bluegill with or whatever it may be. But truly, what does it represent? I have no idea, but I know the fish absolutely love it. And, you know, when it comes to flipping, you know, you can use these baits for everything from punching to flipping logs, lay down trees, to flipping docks, to, you know, just punching in grass, whether it's matted grass, you know, milfoil. You can use these baits all over. There's really no wrong with these baits. There's a lot of things you can do with them. But what I want you guys to understand is this: you know, is my hookup percentage on a beaver style bait good? No. And I guarantee you I'm going to get some comments in there. I'm 100%. If I get 10 bites, I'm going to catch 10. I already know what you're going to say, but I'm just telling you through my experience. If you're doing that, then more power to you. But I'm just going to tell you that a beaver bait is not a very high percentage hookup bait. And I'm going to show you why. Dadgummit, I should have put some hooks out here. All right, so here's just a random hook. This will illustrate it. Most of the time when you get bit on a beaver bait, don't do that at home. Most time when you get bit on a beaver bait, whether you're using a straight shank J hook or offset or whatever it may be, it tends to, I want you to see this, and I'm going to go back to this camera over here. It tends to bend up. So what I mean by that, you see this ball, see it bending up like this. So when he collapses this bait, right, he goes boom. You see that right there? That's his jaw coming in on it. Where is this filling up? It's filling the J up. And there's a lot of plastic on both sides of this beaver bait. So when he balls it up, guess what just happened? He's balling up in the J, right? So see how it folds up like this? I tend to lose, some fish. I'm not going to say a lot. I do lose some fish. You'll get it back and it'll be balled up in its J, okay? When you are fishing beaver style baits, make sure you use a J, I like straight shank. Make sure you use a J straight shank that has a big J. Gamakatsu's got a good J hook out, straight shank. Owner has a really good J straight shank. I haven't tried too much with Trocar, but I know a lot of people throw that TK 130. I haven't tried it yet, but I hear a lot of success on it. But you guys get the point. Watching it ball up, get inside of the J. Make sure you use a big J. Not much more I can tell you than that, except that a beaver bait is one of the I'm going to say the beaver bait is a top player. When there's a flipping bite on, one of these style beaver baits are going to be one of your top players. So I hope you guys have learned a lot from this video. If you want to learn a lot more, like I said in the beginning, go back, surf around. We're in the off season, so I'll probably be doing a lot more hacks than I am fishing. Just trying to educate you guys on what I see in different baits or how to help you guys get better as a fisherman, whether it's tweaking your lure or whatever it may be. So without further ado, I appreciate you guys' support. And if you're new to the channel, I always give you an outro, and I'm giving you the double gun, double 5 outro.